Hi, I'm Eric.
I'm Maureen.
And we're married.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, there's a trend going around the internet where people will take objects or people or places or whatever, and they'll rate them on a tiered list. So the tiers usually go like A through F, like a report card. Sometimes there's an E tier above F, and then on the top one above A is an S tier, which I'm pretty sure stands for super.
And I'll still get them mixed up.
Yeah. So today, what I thought that we would do is rate some landscape paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Because landscape paintings are my favorite kind of art.
They're the only kind he likes.
I will walk through a museum and I'll be like, this is crap, this is crap, landscape painting. This is crap, this is crap. So yeah, today I've gathered 12 landscape paintings with notes on all the artists so we can know exactly what we're bashing.
And I'm an artist, so I'm a snob. We'll see how it goes.
Welcome to Rating for Godot. Is that good?
It'll work for now.
Okay. All right, so first up, we've got a landscape by Caspar David Friedrich.
Mm.
Okay. So some quick notes. He was German. He was painting in the late 1700s into the early 1800s. He's considered one of the top German Romance artists. And he considered there to be like a divine presence in nature. So here's his piece. What do you think? What are your first impressions?
My first impression is that the colors are gorgeous.
Nice bright greens down there with some yellow.
I think the details are incredible. I myself, I am no good at landscapes. No good. It seems deceptively simple, but nature has these rich textures that he just captures. I think my only problem with it is that it's just like foreground, background. There's no
middle ground.
It looks like an opera set where you have, this is what the actors are walking on, and like it even has the cows and the shepherd, and then there's background. So that looks like a backdrop to me to the set piece is what it looks like. But it's glorious. Like the colors, I love the contrast between the sharp, bright colors in the foreground and the sort of muted pastel colors in the background. I think it's beautiful, and just the detail again, exquisite.
Okay, so let me tell you my perspective. This is an S tier for me. This is
really
absolutely
the tops.
Yes, it is the top.
You're gonna put them all in the S tier.
I'm absolutely not. I grabbed some stinkers. Okay, so here's why. I get that there's no middle ground. However, colors are nice and bright. Got this interesting depth of field going on with that background, because it's not just one flat background. You got mountain in front, mountain in the middle, mountain in back, and they fade real nicely. You can see the sharp definition of the rocks with the way the sun plays on them, the shadow there. I just love the texture of the grass. The flora that's here is beautiful. The sky is super realistic. It's very pleasant to me. I love bodies of water. I love big mountains with craggy rocks. I'm happy. This is an S tier.
Really?
Really.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, so let me just drag this one over, okay? So that's my rating. I'm plopping that right there in an S tier. What are you thinking?
To me...
And we are allowing for, like, changing our minds partway through.
Yeah, to me, it's just a little harsh.
Okay.
The separation, the division between foreground and background. Okay. Like I said, it looks like a set. It looks like a theater set. A really good theater set. It's gorgeous. The detail is there. It's. I have nothing against the craftsmanship here. It's just boom, boom. So I would probably put this at a C tier.
C tier? Really?
Yep.
Halfway down. All right.
Halfway. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not the best I've seen.
Okay. All right. Let me just select yours. Oops. There we go. C tier.
C tier.
Okay, cool. So next up, we've got one by Claude Monet. Okay, it's called. I'm sorry. The last one was called "Landscape with Mountain Lake Morning." This one is called "Falaise of Varangeville." Do you like how I overblew that? Yeah. All right. So Claude Monet, he was French. He was painting in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. He was a co-founder of Impressionism. He liked to repeat different scenes at different times of day just to see how the different qualities of air and the light and all this stuff would play on it. He was really interested in color, shape, and light. So this here clearly is an impressionistic painting, but it's not super like into the deep end like Picasso, or like, what am I looking at? You can definitely tell this cliffside overlooking ocean. What I really like about this, I like that his color use isn't overboard crazy. It's definitely he's definitely got some choices in there. Like, he's putting blue over there on the right side with the grass, which is just not something that my brain, who's barely even an artist, would think to do. I think it really works. He's mixing a lot of colors kind of in short brush strokes, which is interesting. And the brightness of the yellow flowers up front, like, I could definitely tell those are close to me. And again, that depth of field in the back is awesome. And the nice blue-green of that ocean, I feel like this is pretty strong. I do like looking at it. It's just not my favorite type of landscape.
I agree. I think this one, for Monet, it feels so restrained. And I'm just not crazy about the bright pastels. That might be an oxymoron, bright pastels, but I love the flowers in the foreground and that craggy cliff to the right. I love. I feel like the rest of it doesn't mesh for me. You've got a little bit more realism in the shading in the cliff, and some beautiful texture of the flowers. And then the rest of it just looks kind of flat to me. I feel like this is definitely something different for him. This isn't something that you would go, that's a Monet.
Right,
right. And I like that about it. Like
you get its impressionism. And
right,
you could
he's
guess
not
Monet,
a one-trick pony.
Right.
He was very ahead of his time. But like, I just noticed this little, is that a little shack down there? Is that a little house? Or is that sand?
Is.
I would love to know that a little bit better. I would like that to be clearer.
I think that is a house with a roof with a chimney.
Yeah, because it almost tells a story. We almost have a story here, but not quite. So, yeah.
All right, so let's double back to our tier list. Let's slap them in there. For this one, I want to give it an A.
What's interesting to me, and because it's impressionist, is when you see it really tiny on your screen, you get so much more depth. Like, I can see more clearly. It's really funny because from a distance, you get that detail, you get that sharpness as the pixels are smaller. I don't know. Yeah. So it looks totally different in a little tiny square.
Yeah, no, I get it. Looks a little bit more realistic. Like, just a scotch.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah. So I'm putting there in A. I love pretty much everything about it. It's surprising to me, but it's not my favorite kind of landscape. I'm very selective. I'm very picky about my types of landscapes.
So you being picky is A tier.
Yes.
Yes. I would give it. I would give it a D.
You give it a D tier, really?
Yeah, it just doesn't really do it for me.
Oh boy,
it's like
I thought I was gonna be harsh.
Put it back up in C.
C tier. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I feel like I was being harsh on Monet.
No, that's all
right.
right.
Went through a lot.
I mean, okay. So, fair statement. Neither of us could do any of these.
No.
We are critiquing purely as aesthetic, not as though we could do any better.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I'm discussing the painters as we go through. Okay, so roll on to the next one. This is from Georges Michel. This is Landscape Near Paris. It's a little bit about Georges. He's French. He was painting in the late 1700s into the early 1800s. He was paid to recreate some famous landscapes by other people. I think there's a Dutch artist like Housdale or something like that he was paid to replicate. He was definitely in the Romantic era. And there's a school that I'll talk about with another artist called the Barbizon School. He was not digging them rules because I think he was before them. He was painting before them, so he didn't have any rules to follow from that school. So, what do you think? What are your first impressions?
I think the title is interesting. I mean, with a lot of landscapes, it's really self-explanatory, like, this is where this is. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting about this one is that this is a landscape near Paris. And you have such a strong image in your head of what Paris looks like.
Right.
The lights, the glitter, the architecture. Yeah. But with this, it gives you a whole different side of that country, of that life. Like, you think of the upper class, the rich, the beautiful, the powerful, the artistic, when you think of Paris. And this is just so rural. It's such dark, gloomy landscape. You have shepherds in the fields or families who are clearly working class, and the colors are more muddy, and it's more contrary to what you immediately think of when you think, oh, France, ooh,
Right.
Paris. And I
It's
like
very
that.
dark.
It's gloomy. That sky, that's my favorite kind of sky in life.
You know
And
what I
it's-
appreciate?
yeah.
Is that even though it's quite dark, you can see this patch right around the middle here is like the clouds part of the sun
Yeah.
coming through. You can tell where the clouds are on the ground.
And I feel like this one tells a story. And it's not necessarily the story that you would expect or the story you would want to hear. It's more realistic. And I really like that about it. I think the quality of the painting is not too different from the Monet we just looked at.
Right.
It's just a totally different mood.
The strokes are chunky. It's
Right.
not super articulate.
It's because I feel like this one is trying to give you a feeling rather
Right.
than show you a realistic image. I think, and in that way, I think this one is more successful than the Monet because it really does. It elicits what I think the painter is intending. This is a different side of Paris. This is the real Paris. This is the just outside of Paris. It's just almost. It's so close to that.
Which way do you think Paris is? Do you think it's like left or right or?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I think it's in the dark area.
I would assume it's off to the left, if not like straight back in the middle.
Just because, well, I only say that because my eye is going there based
Right.
on where the colors
like
are leading
the
me.
ground is is guiding you over there.
But I could be totally wrong.
Yeah. All the reasons you talk about why it's successful is why I don't like it. I don't like that it's dark. I want to see my rocks. I want to see my hills, my mountains. I want to see bright colors in the at least in like a little patch. I want a really bright, like I want sunlight smacking my eyeballs with something. You
want to see Paris.
I don't.
You
give
don't
a
see
crap-
the country
I don't give a
outside
crap about
Paris.
Paris. I don't want to see Paris. I don't want. I don't really need to see cities.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not-
right. Yeah. Landscape boy.
But that little group in shadow, that's making me mad. It's making me real sad. Sad mad.
So it's working, and you don't like it.
No, I don't enjoy this. Okay, so let's jump over the tier list. I'm smacking this in a C tier.
Ah.
It's rough on my eyes. It's rough on my heart. It's rough on my ears. I'm not enjoying it. I think it's very well done. It's interesting. The chunky strokes just don't really work for me here.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they're broader and it's not. If there were more detail, if I could spot like a ladybug off a leaf on the mountain, I'd be like, oh, okay, B tier, well done. But
okay.
here, the fact that it's all just moody and morose and ugh,
Yeah,
not doing
morose
it.
is a really good word.
Not having it.
See, I might surprise you because
Okay.
if everything I like about this painting is because of the context of the title. If you hadn't told me the title, I would have been like, oh, okay.
A place.
Right. It's just because it does look drab, it looks sad. I mean, that's my favorite kind of sky, though. That's like my perfect sky any given day. I think the title and the context really give it that feeling. So judging the painting by itself without the context, I'd keep it in C tier.
Okay.
But with that story behind it, I'd put it up in B.
B tier. All right, that's our first B.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you want to scale it.
No, B, because you know everything about it.
Okay, so with full context.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
Okay.
For sure. I'm not going to duplicate this painting, and we don't have the space. All right, so next up, a little visitor out east. We got Wang Junbi's Dwelling Near a Plunge Waterfall. So this guy, actually probably the most recent artist that I have here. He's a Chinese artist. He was painting in the main part of the 1900s. He became dean at the Guangzhou Municipal College of Fine Arts, and as well as the National Taiwan Normal University, as opposed to the National Taiwan Irregular University. And he was considered one of the three masters from across the Taiwan Strait. What's doing it for you? What's not?
This one's tough.
Yeah. I was glad when I stumbled upon. I was looking. I caught on to another Chinese artist's name, and I found this one on accident, and I was double checking that it belonged to the guy I thought it would, and it didn't.
So you're
and I
researching
found him
someone else?
instead.
Oh.
And I decided to go with this one because this one was more interesting.
See, this one definitely tells a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how gloomy it is, and I love how deceptively simple it is. You have to stare at it to really find where the details are. And I just love that little house.
Oh, that little house.
I love the little house. And I really love the water.
Oh, like the movement lines on the water. The
there's
way that
so much.
It's the water is white, and he's clouded it with gray, and then he's done little black streakies to show that it's moving.
It's another one of those paintings that's deceptively simple. And I like the shading. I just don't know. I don't know. This one's tough. I think this is weird for me to say, but I think I just want more color. I'm expecting more color, and there isn't color.
I feel oppositely here.
Really?
I quite like East Asian landscapes like this. Now, generally speaking, well, you know, stereotypically you'll find the one where it's just like a mountain with kind of clouds around it in the water, like the kind of the standing islands. You're like one, and then another one, and then another one. But generally it's like the body is water. That's the ground that we're looking at. And I don't dig that. This here, I'm on solid ground. I got a sweet little interesting stream that's come from a waterfall. I love me some waterfalls.
You do.
Like I do. I love me waterfalls. And then as you go up, you can see it's getting like significantly farther away. So you know it's a big mountain, and it's shrouded by clouds.
Yeah, the texture there is really...
There's mystery here. Who's this person who lives in this shack?
Yeah.
Why is everything devoid of color with just like little smacks of... You can differentiate species of plant just by that little bit of color.
Yeah, there's so much subtlety here.
What's above them, you know? Is this a mystical, magical land? Is this based on a real spot? Or is this fictional? I can't tell.
Yeah.
And that writing in the corner also does it for me, because I don't know what it says.
All the answers could be in that.
All the answers could be in the writing! And I don't read Mandarin or whatever dialect it is.
I think it's a wizard who lives there. Personally, I think it's a wizard.
A Chinese wizard?
Yep.
Alright, let's hop over to the tier list.
Okay.
For me, I'm gonna smack this right in A tier. Because it's not like the perfect type of landscape, but it does everything else beautifully. I'm here for it.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give it a B.
B. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I like the story it tells. I like the movement it has.
Cool. Sorry for the overlap.
That's
All right. That's fair. At least you're not slapping it in C tier again.
You know.
You changed your mind, or?
No.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have. Let me zoom in here. This is a piece by Jakob Philipp Hackert. Let me pull him up. He's German. He was painting in the late 1700s. He painted for Ferdinand I in Naples. He spied for the Russians at that time, which the information that I found just kind of glossed over that. And it was like, oh yeah, he was working for the Russians.
He had time to paint.
He had affairs with a ton of married women. He never married. I'm pretty sure he had kids. I don't think that people really liked him towards the end. This, however...
Well, look what he made!
Is doing it for me.
Look what he's doing!
He's doing it.
Tell me why it's doing. What's it doing?
Okay, all right. So, the rock faces. The nice, craggy rock faces. You can tell the different minerals by the colors. Like, you can see over on the right side where that little rider is. He's got this red rock, so there's definitely iron in that one. And then you, like, just hint over to the right, and there's blue there. Like, what is that? Why is there blue in my rock? So I like that. Off to the left, you can tell it's going to get more densely populated by like a tree stand, because these trees just popping out of this big boulder. That's cool, and definitely that line of impressive like I don't have a word for it. It's like impending. Kind of mountain line, the cliffside. Again, waterfall, doing it for me. That's basically it. And then the skybox is great.
Where is this painting set? What's the title?
This is View of Jornico from St. Gotthard Pass.
Where is that?
I would assume it's Italy.
Okay.
Just Jornico, Giornico. But then it's St. Gotthard. So a German saint, I guess. Gotthard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna assume this is Italy.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I'm sure there was saint crossover.
Maybe that's a sick crossover.
I mean, the saints are kind of universal. Like, you're a saint, you're a saint. We all love the saints.
They march. I know that.
In
All right, what do you think? What's this doing for you?
See, the scenery itself reminds me a little bit of that first one we looked at.
Mm-hmm.
But this is much more clear. This doesn't look like a set piece. This looks like actual nature. I just love how my eye dances across this page. I'm first drawn to the little red man on the horse. Well, that's the thing. You do that, but I can see where his journey is going to go.
That's true.
That's what I really love about it. And the dog, and I can see he's going around the path toward the trees, and then my eye catches the water going under the bridge, and after I go over the bridge, I go up to the church, and once I go past the church, I go to the waterfall and up the craggy rocks. Then, oh my gosh, there are clouds and there's a mountain. Like, I didn't even notice the mountain at first, right? Isn't that amazing?
Notice the mountain.
Yeah.
First.
So the colors lead your eye around like a map. That's what I love about this. And you notice so many different things. And what I love about it is that it's not perfect. Like, this tree to the closest, to the far right of the boulder, it's not a straight tree. It's not a neat little tree. It's leaning because of the way it's growing on that rock. And you see all these little, like, who's going over that bridge? Somebody's walking across that bridge.
Yeah.
They look like carriages or carts, and you don't know, but it's like, to me, this is a little picture of someone's life. This is someone's town, someone's home, and
Jornico.
Yes, and it tells such a rich story, and it makes me want to imagine living there, to be in that landscape and just call that home every day, and hopefully not take it for granted. But I think there's so much happening.
Yeah.
And I love the way my eye just wanders around and around, and you notice details that you didn't see before every time you look at it. I really love it.
I'm just now noticing the movement in the water, too.
Yeah.
That's
and
nice.
The colors aren't bright. They're very neutral colors.
They're appropriate, though.
They are, yeah. It's not a bright, sunny day. Mm-hmm. It's a very cloudy, almost gloomy day. But the way that it's painted and the story it tells and the movement it has, I think really elevates it.
I'd call it overcast.
Yeah, that is a solid overcast. But then you get that brightness of the mountain, and you see that little sun-kissed area of the clouds, and how it's casting the light in this specific area.
Big, shiny, white, beautiful mountainside peak way up there on the top right. Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. So let's rank this bad boy. I don't be surprised. It's going right in S tier for me.
I would give this an A.
You give it an A? Oh, boy. First A from Maureen. All right. Well done, Jakob.
Yeah.
Not so good on having affairs with married women, but everything else.
Not a likable human.
Yeah.
Likable
spying
paintings.
for the Russians.
You know.
What was that? Can you tell me more about that? Because I didn't find anything else.
We don't have time to paint.
I didn't research that hard. All right. So this next one is from Jean-Baptiste Camille Carreau. It's called Marshy Pastures.
Yeah.
So Carreau, he was French. He was painting in the mid-1800s. He did a technique called, it's not like a painting technique, it's just more about how he, like where he did it. It's called plein air. That is French.
Plein air.
Yeah, plein air.
Plein air.
Basically, you just paint outside. You paint what you see outside.
It's been a miserable day.
Well, he was, so this is what I was talking about, the Barbizon School. They were a school that started to have rules for artists. Plein air was a big part of that. They taught the the French landscape movement. Like they're the strongest proponents of it. So he was a big mover and shaker in French landscape movements. Talk to me.
I think it's kind of yucky.
It's hot garbage, right?
I get a sense of the water. I get a sense of the sky.
Well
I
done,
know
well done.
exactly where this would be and what type of day this was.
Right.
I don't feel anything from it except yuck.
It's yucky.
It makes me feel like I'm muddy and I want to go inside and take a shower.
But you can't because those aren't even houses set up over there. Those are tents. Nobody wants to be out in marshy pastures in a tent.
I think the thing I really like about it is how clearly you can tell that those smudges are cows. I love it. The cows are the best. Those are some
that's all. Smudgy bovine.
I like it. They're cows. That's really all I am enjoying.
You know what I'm curious about? He's got some nice... No, you know what? It has resolved. The closer I looked, it's resolved. I was going to say, so down in the reflections in the water, like on the left side, you see the tree trunk reflected, and it's got some little patches of like cattails or whatever poking out, like the ugly green patches.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this makes sense. On the right side, you see the tree trunk reflect, and right next to it, where the cow is reflecting, I was like, what's that in the middle that's reflecting? What are we not seeing? And then I realized it's more cattails. Oh. Yeah.
I just feel like it's a shitty painting you would see in a hotel.
Can we talk about the left side?
It's like he gave up there.
Did he just kind of like smear poop on it and draw a tree over it?
I think he fell asleep.
Like...
and his palate just went...
I'd like to go back to that little notice statement we made. We could never recreate any of this. You're far more talented than both of us
I could recreate this.
Oh, wow. Fighting words.
It wouldn't be impressionist, but I feel like I could do better than that.
I don't think this is
his cows are better. I could never do cows like that.
Well, I was going to say this comes from a place of love. Like the criticism is loving and respectful. But you painted a dookie.
Poop?
Jean-Baptiste, you painted
loving and respectful.
Yeah, no. So let's just you know what? I like the red hat. Okay, let's jump over to the tier list. I have to give this a stinky F.
Yeah, I give it a stinky F too.
Stinky F's all around.
Stinky
Jean-Baptiste
F.
not doing it in our house.
His name sounds familiar to me. Like, I should know it, but I don't.
Like he worked with Tim Gunn. All right. Next up, we have a piece by J.M.W. Turner. It's called Lake and Mountains. So this guy here, he was English. He was painting in the late 1700s and the early 1800s. He enrolled at the Royal Academy of the Arts at 14, and his first actual work was at 15.
Wow.
Later in his life, he taught there. He was allegedly really bad with words. Like, nobody really understood what he was trying to say. Mm-hmm. The older he got, the more crabby he got. He one time rode into the Thames one year during a census, so he wouldn't be counted.
Oh!
And he died poor. So,
oh, I love him.
Poor Turner. I'll go first. I like the depth of field. Mm-hmm. So, okay. Good depth of field. Definitely that distance, the way that the landscape is super flat down there in like the valley. I appreciate that. Foreground, hot, stinky garbage.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
I agree.
It's like...
It got so muddy. Like, in the background... So, this is very clear to me that this is watercolor.
It's like he gave up at the... I'm going to say it. It's like he gave up at the end of his painting.
It really is. And you could tell he used a lot of water. There's not a lot of paint in that until you get to the end. And then he's just like...
I ran out of water.
And the thing about a lot of landscape paintings for me is that sometimes you get this glorious detail in the landscape and they totally give up on the people. What is this guy?
Oh, okay.
Like the person sitting down.
Yes.
I get it. Mm-hmm. That's good. The person standing up has no head.
It's a gesture.
He's maybe a little floating hat.
That's
He's
true.
got baggy pants on. He's got a coat.
An invisible man wearing clothes.
That takes all the realism out of the painting.
Oh,
I just
true.
don't feel like this is a
All right.
fantasy.
Sidebar, I watched Bob Ross do a painting tutorial once. I love Bob Ross. He's not in, spoiler alert, he's not in this list. I tried to get a Bob Ross painting, but immediately once I searched for it, I started getting imposters.
Oh.
Like I couldn't differentiate. I couldn't be sure. So I didn't want to risk it. But he painted one once, and it was like a snowy evening with a cowboy sitting at a fire. And it was like beautiful mountains, beautiful trees, fiery glow, and then like an ugly stick, disproportionate like black outline of a guy sitting up against a tree with like a nice glow on him. And I was like, Bob, you had me, and you lost me.
I mean, it just takes away some of the passion for me when I see a beautiful landscape and a horrible person. And don't get me wrong, there are some people who are so talented at painting people. Like I draw, I can ink a little bit, but I don't much care for color. Like it's difficult to shade with paint. Like I have so much admiration for that. But then there are some people who do glorious people and then just get lazy with the background. And I'm kind of guilty of that too. But it's just, if you want to be a successful artist, like truly the tops, I feel like you have to do both.
Yeah.
And it's weird to me because the guy sitting down, that does it for me. I'm fine with that.
He looks passable.
Yeah. The guy next to him, what?
Yeah.
What? So, I don't know.
All right, let's rate this. I'm giving this stinker a D because I like everything that isn't the foreground.
Yeah, I'm giving it an E.
E, interesting.
That foreground is just stinky poo poo.
Oh, you know what?
Stinky poo poo.
I'm gonna leave it in D.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it because there's something about if you take out that foreground and you just have the rest of the paint. Like assume that he filled in the background just up to up the bottom left of the painting. I think I would be like, this makes me feel.
Yeah. Well, see, I feel the same way you do, but it makes me so angry about the sticky poo poo foreground that I will not change my mind.
Anger will definitely do that for you.
Yep.
All right, so next up we have is one by John Constable. It's called Dedham Vale with the River Stour in Flood.
Ooh.
So John Constable.
This is what I'm talking about.
Hold it. John Constable was English. He was painting in the mid 1800s. He was part of the English Romance movement, and he created. They coined the term Constable country. So basically, the part of England that he would paint, people suddenly were like, "Oh, that's Constable country." Like it rang with his name. All right, go ahead. I'll let you go.
This is everything I'm talking about. It's a gorgeous landscape. The clouds are beautiful. The cows look like realistic cows. There's so much depth and detail and foreground, middle ground, background. I feel like this is a photograph and you get the trees. You can see almost every leaf. It's like
the reflections of the light on the leaves that are facing certain directions.
It's like when you get a pair of glasses with a brand new prescription and you put those bad boys on and you can see every leaf on the tree. That is what this looks like. It's like... And the colors, you can tell these artists went out and painted every day. They didn't just paint on a fine, glorious day. And the fact that he did this, he probably did this in one sitting. Because this is what the landscape looked like. You know, maybe he saved other parts for later.
Well,
but
I mean,
to
he probably
imitate,
would have to because it's overcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So the next day it could look totally different. But this is England, so maybe not.
Well.
But I admire every tiny little bit about it. And again, my eye wanders over every little nook and cranny of this painting, and I see new things that I didn't notice before. There's such detail. I feel like I could walk down that path today, and it would look the same.
Oh yeah, for sure. I also appreciate the realism up close, all the individual like leaves and colors and stuff. I love that we're basically only seeing cow ass. I love that they're all basically facing away, except for that little sneaky little she cow in the corner.
Hey, buddy.
Just looking over her friend's back. I like that off to the right you have the shepherd who's clearly coming to smack some cow ass. And I like way in the background you have King Baratheon. What was his name from Lord of the Rings? Two Towers. No, it was Saruman's tower. That's what I'm thinking of. Saruman's tower back there.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. All the reflections of the little trees on that river. He got each and every stinky one. Well done,
cute.
John Constable.
Cute.
I like the depth of field. Definitely off behind the kind of yellowish tree on the left. Like way back there, you have that. Because it's not the same distance as the one in the middle.
And you can see how the light in every single break of the clouds are
yes.
hitting. This is in that line of light. And
Just,
I feel like this is timeless. You could go there
the sun
in
reflecting
any
off
decade,
of God's
any
cheeks.
year.
It's so good.
And you could see this exact scene.
I bet those rocks are still there.
I bet the cows are still there.
I bet that... Whoa. Those are some
Generations.
old cows.
Oh,
Bessie's immortal.
yeah.
All right. You ready to rate this one?
This is solid S tier for me.
Solid
I'm just gonna
S
say it.
tier. Okay, all right. I
Yep.
gotta plop this in A tier for me. Just because I don't have enough mountains. I don't maybe have a waterfall. It's just not. It's not the perfect
that's
thing
not
I want to
the
see.
scene.
I know, but it's not what I want to see. Is the thing. It's very well done. I enjoy it, but it's not what I want to see.
I thought I was a snob.
I'm picky. I'm not snobbish. I'm picky because I'm not snobbish because I can't do any of this. You can do some of this. You can be snobbish because you can do some of this. I'm just picky.
Like this much of that.
Welcome to Snobtown. All right. Next up, we're closing in the last 4.
Oh,
Okay, so here's the thing. I think this is a Rembrandt. But every
for
time I found websites that had collections of his work, I couldn't find this one. When I searched for Rembrandt landscape, I found this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some information on Rembrandt because he's super freaking important. But I'm just going to say this might be a Rembrandt, but if it's not, it's definitely a Dutch masterwork. Okay, so Rembrandt Harmenzoon van Rijn. He was Dutch. He was painting in the main part of the 1600s. He was definitely part of the Baroque era. He mostly did realism, but also religious paintings and portraits. His portraits are perfect. I just don't care, is all.
well then I think we should do portraits next
We
time.
should do portraits next time. Or maybe chips, who knows. And he's considered a forerunner of Romanticism. Yeah, alright, my turn. This is S tier.
Yeah.
This is so good. Okay, here's why. Clouds. On point. The light playing off of the rocks in the background. It's real. The lake there, the still lake with like this streaky little like it's water that's coming, it's runoff water. It's melting glaciers up high, running down the middle into that lake. Perfect. Little like rocks and sticks and whatever, tiny freaking trees, and the levels of color from the bright clouds and rocks to the deep dark lush greenery. Oh my god. I want to be there. I want to be there so bad. I want to swim in the water.
It wouldn't even move. You would jump into that water and it wouldn't even move.
Oh man, that might even be
It's
a
so
second
placid.
off in the middle left. There might even be a second tiered like lake in the mountains. I can't even tell.
It could be.
With just like God could wipe his butt on that mountaintop in the top left. It's so tall and beautiful.
This has so...
So where we live, sometimes the fire alarm goes off just to test. We should probably wait for it to be done.
Yeah, let's wait for it to done and then edit them out. When I look at this painting, I just hear Mumford and Sons Awake My Soul when I look at this. The light, the contrast, and what I love is that there are no signs of any living creature. It's just
Nothing.
pure, vast
No ambulatory.
landscapes. There's no bird life, there are no deer, there are no foxes, there are no people, there are no cow asses. It's just
And I love cow asses,
undisrupted landscape. It's just in all its levels, in it ticks all the boxes.
You know what I
I
just
feel-
realized? There's a little pond over here
Oh,
on the
God.
bottom right with a rock sticking out of it because you can see it dipping below the refraction. It's dark, so you can barely even see it. It's only a few inches, but it's there. It's got moss on it. It's got
Yeah.
moss on it.
This just tells the story. I want to be there. I want to be square. No.
I want a house. I want to basically see this from my house.
No, you shouldn't build anything there. No.
I want to be the only one who lives there. You can stay here. I
No.
will go live there.
You shouldn't disrupt
I
that
will be Dutch
with
Mountain Man.
any man-made feature at all. No. I forbid you. No.
All right, so this is an easy S.
This is S for both of us.
Oh, that's a tasty S.
Can't even.
Smack.
That painting is so good. I
Smack.
almost want to put the last painting at an A, just because I can't compete. But I'm gonna leave it there.
Are you leaving there? Okay, all right. Okay, next up we've got this is from Thomas Cole. It's called "View from Mount Holyoke, Northampton, Massachusetts After a Thunderstorm," but everybody just calls it the Oxbow. Everybody. So Thomas Cole, he was an American. First American. He painted in the early 1800s. He was an environmentalist. He was super concerned about the progress of cities. He did a couple that was kind of like a statement, like an art statement across like 3 paintings, I think, about that. He founded the Hudson River School of Art.
When did you say you banded this?
This is mid 1800s, early 1800s.
Okay.
Yeah, this does it for me. This you know why? Because the gloom on the left is counterbalanced by beautiful, glorious, heavenly sunlight on the right. This feels like I saw this playing Red Dead 2, which is kind of my bar for landscapes.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like that the tree on the left is broken because of the storm. I'm assuming it's fresh. It looks freshly broken.
Yeah.
I like the lush greenery on its side, but also you're standing like right on the precipice, and bam, American northeast landscapes with this beautiful bending oxbow, I'm guessing river. It's almost turned into pastures. It looks like it could have been. It might be, actually.
That's one of the things I like about it.
And low hills into the distance, and it just extends to the ends of the earth. The earth is not flat. What do you think?
This one's okay. It's okay for me. I like the contrast between where the storm is moving. I like the movement it has and the places that it has already touches. That it has already touched.
You can see the curve of the water as it's falling.
That-
the rain.
But in a sense of color, it's muddy like it's been rained on, but it's also refreshed.
That's good.
I think, and I like the depth that it has, and it's telling a story. It's just something, I get it. I understand this painting. I get it. I just think the colors aren't working for me. The foreground is just the most Crayola green.
Does it feel like a different place for you?
Kinda. But I can justify all the colors based on what this scene is telling me. I just don't like it.
Okay.
And I get it. I understand it. I feel it. I just don't like it.
What do you think that little arrow thing at the bottom kind of right? What do you think that arrow thing pointing out is?
I don't know. It almost
that
looks like a hat.
Is it like a marker or?
I feel like that's probably something personal to the artist. That seems like a little Easter egg, and I'd be curious to do some research on that.
Yeah, like how the Renaissance artists would, if they painted someone in their painting, like a group painting, and that person was looking out, it was either them or the person who paid for the painting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
I wonder. Yeah. No. So I'm good to rate. Are you good to rate?
Almost. And this, I think, what I also like about it is that this kind of looks local to us. This is definitely a United States.
It looks like a place we could go visit.
It looks like it could be anywhere on the Catoctin.
I'm just not going to Massachusetts for it.
No. Well, we have it in Maryland. And that kind of kindles some familiarity with me, but as a painting itself, I wouldn't hang it up.
There's something about looking at American like kind of flat landscapes from up high. If you're going to show me a flat landscape, I want to see it from up high. If you're going to show me like a super hilly, rocky, mountainous landscape, I want to see it from down low. I want the sense of scale. And this, so basically the John Constable one, I think. If you had shown me that marshlands with Sauron's Tower from up high, I would have been like, S tier. That's interesting.
Okay.
That just kind of pushed it right up. Even though it's not what I wanted to see, it would have pushed it up into excellence.
I'm just so torn with this one because I get it. I appreciate it.
You speak it, you feel it, you smell it.
I do. I smell the rain. I smell it. I'm picking up what it's throwing down. I get the story.
But you're
It's
giving
the
it right
landscape's
back.
familiar. I just don't think this is a painting that you would hang on your wall. I think it's beautifully done for what it is. I don't know, something about it
maybe
is
your
just
wall,
not
but it's on my
resonating
wall.
with
There's
me.
something also about the... it's a little bit grainy because I blew it up, but the fineness of the texture of the way he paints just screams American to me as well, and it's kind of comforting.
I understand it. And I love this story. I love thunderstorms. I love that, that's... You go ahead and...
I'm slapping it an S tier. It's not what I expect for a landscape to really give me an S tier, but it's doing it for me. Everything about it.
I'm going to put this in B tier.
B tier. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's totally fair.
Because I want to give credit where it's due.
I feel that. All right. Got two more.
Okay.
This is probably our oldest one. It's by Tiziano Vecellai.
Ooh, it is,
who's
isn't it?
basically only ever known as Titian?
Oh.
Titian? I don't know how to pronounce it. So it's called Evening Landscape with Two Figures. So this is Italian, obviously. He painted in the main part of the 1500s.
Oh, wow.
He was part of a Renaissance Venetian school. He mainly did portraits, but one thing that was super big for him, because people weren't really doing it as much, was that he made his landscapes characters.
Interesting.
This is average for me.
This is one of those paintings where the figures are really solid and the background's just kind of flat.
Yeah, it's
You
like
can
he didn't know
tell
what to do.
since you said that figure painting wasn't as popular at this time, and he was just like, oh well, I guess I have to do a landscape if I want to be.
It wasn't that.
What'd you say?
He was mainly a portrait artist.
Yeah,
But
that's clear.
But he dipped into landscapes. In fact, this was one of the only landscapes I could find from him.
That's just so obvious to me because his people, as small as they are, they're beautiful, and I want to stare at that. And the landscape is just so underwhelming, and the paint is so thin on whatever the structure is. You can see through it.
You can see right through that tower.
But the clouds are nice.
The clouds are super stylized.
Yeah.
I don't think that was his goal, but I quite like it.
Well,
you know what it is? The people are not the same style as the landscape.
You're right. It's so jarring to me. And like there are good parts about it. I like this tree in the foreground.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And I don't mind
The leaves are pretty good.
stylized clouds. Because if you look at Maxfield Parrish's paintings, he does those big voluminous clouds in that's kind of his signature. So that's not something that really bothers me. But in the context of this painting, it's like my eyes bounce back and forth between the people, the sky, the people, the sky. And I don't care about anything in the middle. And that kind of, I'm so disappointed because his people are so good.
If you take
Look
out
at those calves.
his rockin' calves, and hers, I'm assuming. If you take out the people and you take out that wispy little tower, and basically said, "No, I did this on purpose," make it into a video game world, I would explore that world because here's why: the blue of the sky isn't like your average blue, right?
It's like
And
straight cerulean.
That's the perfect word for it. And it's
That's
also
what the tube is
it's
called.
clearly evening. I mean, they're courting, but like the lower half of the sky, it's like sunset time. You get that like kind of orangish reddish light on the grass, turning it yellowy, and it's so bright and lush. I want to step on it. I almost want to eat it. The distant kind of like aqua green, dark murky is perfect for it. I think that's exactly what landscape should look like. in the distance. And this tree is fine, but there's no detail to the branches. The leaves are okay.
It's flat.
It's flat is what it is.
Yeah.
But if you made it on purpose, if you said this is a 3D world that I made look 2D on purpose, I'm sold. But this as it is, it's like clearly not well into landscape teaching.
It just looks like he's dabbling.
Yeah.
And like if the figures were large and he painted that in the background, it'd be great. That works for a portrait painting. But when you shrink the people down and have this is supposed to be a focal point, or not exactly. It's just the most basic blue for water. The colors are so basic. They look straight from the tube. They really and it or whatever they used back then. I assume they had tubes of some kind.
I don't know.
Bricks.
Maybe. I don't know what medium this is.
I don't know what kind of materials they had back then. I shouldn't even venture a guess. But I don't know. I'm so disappointed with it because the people are so good. And it's so clear that that's his strength. And he just stuck these beautiful people in this very, like, basic background. I feel like if you can paint, that's a perfectly adequate background. It's perfectly fine.
Right.
That's like adequate. Better than most people can do.
Right.
Like it's better than I could do.
I like the detailing in the clouds because you got this like kind of dark underside because it definitely is late, but you got this super bright white lining. Mm-hmm. But what I noticed is that where is the sun coming from?
I know, and that's another thing that I meant to say when you were saying
he's got light on both sides.
There's
of the
light
cloud.
here. There's light here. These people stand out because I can't tell where the light source is coming from, and he's got this shine on his armor.
Look at his knee, his left knee. Like the light should be coming from upright.
That's where the glare on his armor is coming from, this way. But the light almost looks like it's coming from here. It's very strange.
Yeah, like there must be a cloud right overhead because you have this dip in hue, like the shading becomes darker.
But it's
right
so
in the
dark
middle.
up here.
Yeah,
and so light here. Is this light coming from this little gap?
Maybe there is a patch of the clouds right above. I don't know.
But you shouldn't have to imagine those things. You should be able to see them. It should make sense when you look at it, I feel.
Well, I mean, if you're going to argue, oh no, there's a cloud right above me when I was painting and that's what the light that it made, like, I would like to see it done once more in the painting.
Yeah,
like,
it should
be
clear.
Show me another spot.
You shouldn't have to ask the artist anything.
Right.
It should be abundantly clear what they're trying to do. And I feel like he just scribbled in this part darker so that she would stand up more.
Probably.
It's just very... Like, this is a very, very good high school landscape painting.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. I would be like, this should be in your art show.
You're right.
It's phenomenal.
I wonder how old he was when he painted this. Probably, I think it was late in his career. Or like...
Well, I would agree, because his figures are so good.
Yeah, he's skilled. He's talented.
Yeah.
Practiced. All right, I'm ready to review Evening Landscape with two figures. Mm-hmm. I'm giving it
such a boring title. You could call it The Courtship. You could call it
that's true.
So many other interesting things.
I'm giving it C tier. I enjoy the stylization, even though that wasn't his point. Mm-hmm. Everything beyond that is like whatever. It's fine.
I'm gonna give it a D.
D. Okay.
Because I'm so disappointed. Because his figures are so good, the talent doesn't match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to our last one. This here is a Vincent van Gogh. It's called A Harvest Landscape with Blue Cart.
Aww.
All right, so let's talk about Vinny. Okay, so he was Dutch. He painted in the late part of the 1800s. He was considered post-impressionist. Big things that he did was he liked to distort color and form to get different, impressions, I guess. He also had super strong mental health issues. He died via suicide. So
that's debated.
I'm pretty sure he killed himself.
People don't know for sure.
Okay, well, he also had serious mental health issues. So a quick little PSA. If you're feeling bad, go see a doctor, please.
But they didn't have that back then. That wasn't widely
Well, they didn't
acceptable.
widely understand it, no. But he definitely needed help. Like we know for sure that I think he was bipolar.
I think so.
I
think so, yeah. Possibly.
And he didn't cut off his whole ear. He cut off a piece of it.
Yeah, he didn't nail his whole ear.
No.
It's thought they since there have been further investigations, it's thought that he was stabbed by some young friends he had, almost like by accident on purpose, and that
Accidentally on purpose.
And that he was covering up for them and made everyone think it was a suicide because he didn't want to ruin their lives.
Before he died, he was like, wait, it was an accident, and then blah.
No, I think everyone assumed it was a suicide because he had mental health problems. And instead, it's all been theorized, but basically, they've been looking over it so much that they're thinking, historically, he wasn't suicidal.
Now that we're at the end of the video, let me turn on the light. All right. Talk to me.
I just love it. I mean, I know it's such a cliche to love Van Gogh. Van Gogh.
Yes.
But it's just so pleasant. He's such a master. I mean, the colors are bright. You want to be there, and it's so simple. And I feel like there's equality between how he illustrates landscape and his people. It all blends. It goes together. It works. And it's such a scene of life. It's so vibrant. It's so clear that this is just how people are living. And how fortunate are they, to be a part of this landscape. That they get to dwell in this world. Like, you're jealous when you look at them because this seems like such a glorious piece of life. It's so charming.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
It looks like they're growing weed.
Okay.
Also, what I find really interesting, because he uses like thick amounts of paint, and not only with this image are you getting like the colors of the paint, you're also getting the light, like real life light off of the paint itself.
Yeah.
It almost looks like he assembles all of his work with like little minuscule newspaper cutouts or like magazine cutouts.
Yeah.
Like he's just gluing everything on.
Like he's the OG Eric Carle.
Yes. Yes, that's deep cut. I do appreciate looking at Van Gogh's stuffs. I do appreciate looking at his stuff. I like his colors. I like outlines. I definitely get what's going on. But I just don't like the way he makes stuff shaped the wrong way. Like,
You think it's too cartoonish?
It looks like I could do it, with enough time and dedication. And sleep and wall kicking.
I feel like that's the promise of it, though.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
There's some childlike wonder in it.
Yeah.
In the simplicity.
But it makes me feel like a child did it.
Oh, I disagree. I think there's such a lightness, such an effortlessness in it.
No, it doesn't seem like a sophisticated man made this stuff. And I like some of his work. I definitely do. This, though, the longer I look at it, the more it looks like a really talented high school art project. Or like even middle school art project.
I don't know, but just knowing a little bit about his life, the way that he was struggling financially and mentally, and this wasn't a type of art that people appreciated in his time. He struggled so hard. But his paintings are so full of life. Right, yeah. No, I get that. It's just it says so much about him and how dedicated. This was the world he wanted to be a part of. This is how he saw it, how he wanted it. And he didn't belong that way. And I think it's so powerful. I don't know. There's so much strength in that.
I mean, as a landscape, this is crap. I'm saying it. I'm throwing down. This is a piece.
Mountains.
This is a piece. Yeah, but they're so far away and flat and abstract looking. Like, this is a piece. If I saw in a museum, I'd walk by and be like, "Oh, that's bright colors. Look, that's a Van Gogh," and then I would keep walking. There's nothing here to hold me. Like, the simple elegance of these people doing their jobs, working, growing weed, I guess, and hay. I don't care. It's the same thing. It's the same reason why I don't like portraits. It's because look at the natural beauty of the human form. Like, I don't care. I see people all the time. You know what I don't see? Mountains and waterfalls and lakes.
Yeah.
I need to see something that I don't see very often, and not just a Dutch landscape. Or a Dutch countryside, I should say.
And this is so far off from what I usually go for, too. I don't really like bright colors. I don't really like simplicity. I like detail.
Oh, I definitely appreciate him for being bold with his colors. Like, rock on.
You like bright colors.
I love bright colors. I love strong flavors. I love bright colors. I love big farts. I'm all about it.
You love weed growers and
weed grow. Ooh,
Dutch
careful on your wording there.
What? I love it. I really like it.
Okay.
I think his little people are more sophisticated than most.
Than J.M.W. Turner's people.
Mm-hmm.
Look how, like, it's simple, but it still conveys.
There's
and,
so
like,
much tinier, too.
Even the shadow, like the little guy in the top left. Doing
Yes,
his work
him especially.
And like, you can tell there's a head, there are arms, you can tell the direction, and everything.
That little horse pulling the cart.
Little horsey pulling that damn cart.
Love him.
Yeah, no, J.M.W. Turner, step up your people game. Okay, all right, last time to rate. I'm slapping this guy. I'm torn. Do I give it D or E?
You're about to make some enemies.
I don't care, honey.
You're gonna get shanked.
In my home or outside my home? I gotta give it a D. I gotta give it a D because at least the colors are really nice.
Okay.
And I respect him as an artist. I just don't like it. What about you? Where you put it?
It's gotta be an A or an S for me.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Make your decision, honey.
I'm gonna give this an S. I'm gonna be that basic artsy bitch.
And with that last rating, we're tipping off the tier right there.
I'm a little basic. I like me some Van.
The only reason I know it's pronounced Van Gogh is because I went to.
He went there.
I went.
He met him.
I went
he shook his hand.
I shook his ear.
He held his ear.
Yes.
The corpse of his ear.
I kissed it gently, and I said, "Good night, sweet prince." All right, that's our tier. That's our list. Thank you everybody for watching, staying with us. I know it's a pretty long video.
If you still want to hang out with us after this and watch another video,
we're gonna.
Good on you.
We'd like to make
because that
more
was
tier
a
lists.
lot of opinions.
It's discussion. it's interesting.
Yeah.
Let us know, I guess, if any of these opinions don't work for you. Tell us why. Tell us what you'd like to see, I guess.
Yeah, agree, disagree.
We're not going to make like a million videos, but if there's something else you want to see, other landscapes, other artists,
yeah,
or other topics in general, like we're talking about doing portraits or reviewing food or whatever, cool stuff. Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.